Greetings, YouTube. I wanted to start off this video by saying something that I think is really important, and that's that a beta test is a beta test. It's literally something that is going to go through so many changes between now and when it actually comes out on the main server that we may not be able to even recognize what the 7.2 content release is from the beta. I think that's pretty much how we felt about the 7.1 beta versus what we saw. The 7.1 beta was not only very, very difficult, where you almost felt like you needed the perfect champs or the greatest fighting skill, but it was just a headache. And I remember I only did about 3 or 4 fights. I lost all my champs. I felt like I had never played the game before. It was almost like stepping on like a basketball court with somebody who's really good and you think you're good, and then all of a sudden you can't even get a shot out without being blocked. That's how I felt. But as somebody who just 100% explored 7.1, I can confidently say I actually really enjoyed that content. I thought the way they laid it out was amazing, and it was my favorite content so far of any event quest, or I guess I shouldn't say event quest, I should say main quest, story quest. That's what I'm thinking about. With that being said, I have heard from some of you who have said the following. If they don't make major changes to what the 7.2 beta looks like, I'm out. I'm done. Now, is that really true? Probably not. But it's sort of like, it reminds me of, we used to have these math books in 3rd, 4th grade, and lesson 1 was basic addition, and you're thinking, golly, this is amazing. And then you go to the last lesson, like lesson 120, and it looks like calculus 6. Looks like you have to calculate time travel as if you were in Back to the Future. Well, that's kind of the feedback I received today and this morning, because when you look at all of these nodes, and some of them are brand new to where we don't really even know really what they are or how to battle them, it just feels like you have to do a novel worth of reading every fight and every path, and it's exhausting. It's the opposite of fun. Some things put the FU in fun, as I tell my students, and this is one of them. Now, again, I think it's worth noting, this is just a beta test. They might take away half these nodes. They might never release some of these nodes. I hated the route or route mechanic. I can't remember seeing it again after that month that it was in the game. And I'm thankful for that, because I don't miss that thing at all. So, with that being said, Kabam, so far, the feedback that I've received, and maybe you watching this feel very different, and you're tied to your opinion, and you are not at all needed to agree with me or anybody here. But it's just a lot. It's overwhelming. The real heroes of 7.2, if it remains anything close to what the beta is, are going to be the people who make the guides for summoners to follow. The people who make the easy pass, quote unquote, and the full exploration guides. You know who we're talking about. The folks at MCOC Trucos. Heck, I mean, nobody ever does a better job than Seaton at coming up with guides. Shout out to the greatness of Mr. Seaton himself. But right now, it's just intimidating. It feels, we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 circles. 14 circles right now. Just an incredible amount. And Jake here jumped in. He goes by Metal Jake, and he brought in his favorite team in the Book 2, Act 1, Chapter 2 beta. Doom and Cosmic Ghost Rider and Apocalypse. Counter-Strike, Special Delivery, Freezer Burn, Juggling, Intervention Villainous, Flux Dispersal, Power Shield, Tyranny. It's a lot to process. Superiority, Rise Again, Faltering Mind, Ebb and Flow, Tunnel Vision. Footloose. We're going to fight Kevin Bacon in this one. Hurt Locker. Everybody's favorite. God, I hate Hurt Locker. Counter Tactics. Release Value, which sounds like a bad date. Foresight. Unblockable. So, is it going to be fine? Probably. But I think the goal of talking to Kabam is to say we want challenging content that, yes, is going to take revives and potions and units, and you're going to make money off of it, but it's also going to be something that the player enjoys. I think 7.1 is a fantastic example of content that can be really great, but also fair. Even using extra large champs you would not normally use, or the reward of 6 stars, getting that extra Fury buff. Like, it's all really good stuff. And so, as we continue to look at the nodes for this, I just think it's important to point out that while there isn't a finality to this, because it is a beta, it is certainly a lot to process. When you've got 5 or 6 nodes that you're looking at and thinking of how you counter them, it kind of reminds me of bosses and incursions. But the thing about incursions, you're also stacking up special buffs yourself during all those special node tactics. And so if they do that here, if you're fighting 5 nodes, but you're also choosing to either heal yourself up or add on a special positive attacker node, then I think that negates some of the anxiety that players are reaching out telling me they have. But if you don't, and this is what it is, it's just it's a lot of reading and pretty intimidating, at least for people who are willing to say that they can be intimidated. So Metal Jake, I appreciate you getting back to me, as well as several others who have given me similar amounts of feedback. But I do remember not exactly the same feedback, but somewhat similar in the 7.1 beta, and it turned out that 7.1 is great. So I just have to hope, and I know it's me trusting Kabam, and I have trust issues literally because of the company, but I just have to sit back and hope that this is going to be a very, very different look for what Book 2, Act 1, Chapter 2 will be once it's actually released into the game. What are your thoughts? What do you like about it? Let's hear some positives too. I want to be objective and balanced when I talk about the pros and cons of this. Yes, most of the people have talked to me have talked about their anxiety for it, but I'm sure there's plenty of reasons to celebrate. Maybe there's a champion that works really well in these nodes so far that you haven't used very much. It's always nice to hear that feedback. So please send that over. And Metal Jake, thanks again for the feedback. I really appreciate it.